question. Can you explain it? Then they try and explain it, and Socrates would show them that they don't really understand it. So then he would say, well, look, I don't understand it either. So let's analyze this together. See, if a person said, I know it, then there's not much of a discussion. But he would point out to the person by asking him questions about his answer, showing him that he didn't know it. And then he'd say, well, I don't know it either, but let's discuss this together and maybe we can find out. Okay. So the first thing in the Socratic method is to be convinced that you don't know the answer to the question. Like, for example, do you know God? Yeah, I know God. What do you know about God? He doesn't exist. Oh, really? How do you know he doesn't exist? Well, there's this science, this big thing and that, you know, we all started with a big bang and we come from monkeys and we don't have to be responsible to anyone. After death, there's nothing. Well, are you sure? Well, I think so. You think so? What do you mean you think so? Have you ever died and experienced nothingness? He said, well, I don't remember dying. So then how do you know what's happening after death? So in other words, you put doubts in a person's mind about how much they know about the subject. And then you say, look, I don't know either, but let's analyze this together. Okay. So that first step in the Socratic method is to be convinced that you don't know the answer. Okay. So then now, go ahead, Sresta.
So then...
Okay, now, the way the technique is once you convince a person that they don't know the subject, right? They don't know the answer. Then you start with the strategy of first establishing what you do know as the basis for gradually understanding what you don't know. Okay. So, what do you know? What question can you ask them? What's the first question?
Well, the first question that you can ask them is, are they their body?
No. First question is, are you a person?
Right. So first you ask them, are you a person?
Yeah.
And then if they have to say yes.
Well, sometimes they say no. So what do you do when they say no? Well, most people say yes.
Yeah.
So as soon as they say yes, that's it. You got them now. You're going to be able to prove that God exists to them. But many people, not many, but some people who are a little bit trained in philosophy, not philosophy, but philosophy, they'll say no. So what do you do if they say no? Yes, Augustia. And what did they say?
No.
That proves they're a person. How does that prove that they're a person if they say no?
Because you don't want to get hit.
No, because if I hit the carpet or if I hit the wall, does the wall say, don't hit me? Does it complain, you hit me? I'm going to call the police? No. But if you hit a person on the head with a chair, they would complain, they would call the police, they would hit you back, or that proves they're a person. It's easy to prove that they're a person. Okay, go ahead.
So first you establish the point that the atheist is a person.
Yes.
And then you go on and you ask the person, you ask them, are you your body? And if they say, yes, I am my body and like I cease to exist after death, then you tell them that if I were to cut off your hand, would you still be alive? Yes, you would still be alive, right? So your body, well, actually you wouldn't say that. You would ask them, do you say I hand, right? You don't say I hand, you say my hand. So you're not the hand. you're actually somebody else. You say my body, not I body. So you're not the body, you're somebody else.
Well, okay, you're talking around it. You're getting close, but the second point is, if a person says, "I am a person," I accept that. Then you convince them that there's a difference between the seer and the seen. Who is the seer and what is the seen? Then you can use that example. You don't say I hand, you say my hand. That means that you own the hand. That means that there's a difference between you and the hand. Otherwise, if it wasn't, you would say I hand. You wouldn't say my hand. Just like you say my car. That means there's a difference between you and the car. What is that difference? You are the seer, and that object is something that you're seeing. Right? So the second point is, once the person says, I am a person, then you go to establishing the difference between the seer and the seen. So it's related. I mean, you don't say, are you your body? You say, you are seeing things and you're perceiving them. You're aware of them. That means that you're different than them. You saw yourself as a person, okay, but your person is different than what you're seeing. Like, for example, you saw yourself, and you might not remember it, but you saw yourself as a baby. Then you saw yourself as a young child. And then you saw yourself as a teenager. And then you saw yourself as a mature person. So you're seeing all these different changings of the body. But you're witnessing them all. You can remember, I remember seeing myself in a mirror when I was 6 years old. And I saw myself in a mirror. I remember seeing myself in a mirror when I was 16. And I saw myself in a mirror when I was 30. So the fact that you are different, being the seer, and what you're seeing, or the seen, is different than you. You're seeing all the different bodies that you've had. You're seeing how you're getting older and changing in different ways. You used to have, 4 teeth in the front. Now you only have 2 teeth in the front. Right? You lost 2 teeth. So you used to have an ear, but it got cut off. Or you used to have a thumb, but it got cut off with sawing a piece of wood. And now you have half a thumb. You see. So you're seeing all these things happening to you and your body, and that means there's a difference between you and the body. There's a difference between the seer and the seen. Like a lot of families, they have, a measuring, a length measuring, like stick or something in the kitchen. So, and they have little points on it. This was Billy when he was 6 years old. He was only 2 feet 6 inches. This was Billy when he was 10 years old, 3 feet and 6 inches. This is Billy when he was 13 years old, 5 feet 8. And this is Billy when he's 16 years old, he's 6 feet 2. So you see the progression of Billy's growing on the like a yardstick or something, and the measurements, and they're on the wall in the kitchen, So Billy saw himself growing. That means he saw his body growing. So that means there's a difference between Billy the seer and the body the seen. The body kept changing. Billy's the same. He's the same seer. So it's just like you don't say I hand, I head, my head. All these things indicate there's a difference between the seer and the seen. Okay, what's next? You understand, Advitya? Are you the seen or are you the seer? Which one are you? Are you the seer or the seen? Yes, very good. Go ahead.
So, after you establish the difference between the seer and the seen,
Yes.
so then basically the person has to understand that they are different from their body, right? So when they accept the fact that they are different from their body, then we have to ask them, I think we have to ask them, like,
You see why we're going over this? It's very easy to forget this. This is step number 3. Yes. Yeah, they're supplied to us. We didn't make any of them. We didn't make the objects. We didn't make the instruments for seeing. We didn't make the process of seeing. They've all been supplied to us. Right. You remember making your eyes, Prabhu? No. Yeah. Do you remember making the objects that you're seeing? Like you're seeing Agastya. Did you make him? No. Do you understand the process by which you see? So, but you're using these things. So what does that mean? That means somebody gave it to you. Just like your computer. Did you make the computer? Did you make the software? Did you make the internet? Did you make all the things on Amazon that you want to buy? So it's all been supplied to you, right? You can use it, but you didn't make any of it. Right? Are you maintaining them so that the process of by which you can see or hear, are you maintaining it? Not really. You don't even understand how it works. It just works, and you're just using it. See? So, first is, are you a person? Second is the difference between the seer and the seen. Third is that the process of seeing, the instruments of seeing, the objects that we see, all are supplied to us. Next. Like, for example, the organs of perception are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And then there's 5 objects of these organs of perception. They are hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, and smelling. Okay? And then, besides that, there are 5 senses for action and work: hands, legs, speech, evacuation organs, and reproductive organs. And then there's the 6th sense, called the mind. And above the mind is the intelligence. And above the intelligence is the false ego. So all these things have been given to us. We didn't make any of them. You remember making any of those things? You know a formula how to make intelligence or mind or no. You see, all of these things have been given to us, and we can use them or abuse them. That's our only freedom, either using them or abusing them. Just like you can use your remote control properly, or you can abuse it by using it as a stick to beat your brother or your cat. So you can either use it or abuse it. Either way. That's you. That's what we can do. But we didn't make it, but we can break it if we want to, or use it properly. So, okay, then that's number 4. What? Yeah, can you see what's on the other side of the wall? Can you see what's on the... No. What does that mean? Yeah, your senses are limited. Right? So our power of seeing or perception is limited. Limited how? Augusta, look at your notes. You have any notes or no notes? Huh? No, I said nose, N-O-S-C, not notes. Nose. Do you have a nose? Okay. Can you see your nose? No, I'm talking about notes, not nose. Do you have any notes on this? Yes? Why don't you look at them and answer the question? What's number 3? Why are our senses limited? Excellent. Exactly right. Exactly right. So that means that we're conditioned because the senses that we have, just like, let's say you buy, let's say 30, 40 years ago, you bought the first Apple computer. And then Apple upgraded. So then you bought the next generation of Apple computers. And a couple of years went by, and then they upgraded again. So you bought the next generation, right? And now you're on the 8th or 9th generation of Apple computers. Would you go back to the first generation Apple computer? No, obviously not. So in this lifetime, you've been upgraded to the human form of life with much better intelligence, mind, and senses and body. But what is it good for? Why did we get this upgrade? Why do you get an upgrade on your computer? You get more, what do you call it, memory. You get more faster internet. What's the purpose of the upgrade? What? No. No. What's the purpose of the upgrade? Yes. You're talking around the answer. Well, the upgrade means you can do more things and faster with the computer, right? So when you upgrade from the dog's body to the human body, what can you do that the dog can't do? Huh? Well, the dog also thinks. Yes?
We're meant to serve Krishna in this form, so we can.
Well, the dog, yeah, he can, do some things for Krishna. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, you can find out about God. Dog can't do it. For the dog, God is food. It's called anamoya. But the human being can go beyond that and understand fully the relationship with God and engage specifically in devotional service to please Krishna. So the upgrade from the dog body to the human body is to give you the instruments of enhanced awareness. Just like if you have a faster computer, you can do things much faster with the computer than when you have a slow computer, right? What is it that you're doing? You're becoming more aware of things faster. So when you get the upgrade from the dog body to the human body, you're able to understand your relationship with Krishna, whereas in a dog body you can't hardly understand it at all, other than you see food as God. Okay, so it's just that we covered number 4. What's number 5? What? Yes, power of our senses are limited. And why? Because we make mistakes, we use the illusion, our senses are imperfect and limited, and we have a cheating propensity. Go ahead. It just shows that we're dependent. We're not independent.
Yeah, so then you ask the question that was dependent on somebody else, like we're dependent on creator.
No. It's not number 5. Yeah, you get frustrated. Is the carpet frustrated? No. You can stamp on it all you want. Doesn't complain, doesn't say anything. Right? But if someone, stamps on you, immediately you complain. You get frustrated. You get upset. You see. So this dissatisfaction and frustration is a sign of something very, let's say, essential. That is, that you're conscious of pain and pleasure, especially pain, right? So, and pleasure, but you're aware of these things. Like, for example, the wall is not conscious of pain and pleasure, or if it is, you don't see it, right? But you become very, very acutely conscious and very quickly of pain or pleasure. So there are scientists that claim that matter develops the power to see and move as part of a certain organic development, or according to Darwinism. But this is not a valid point. There's no evidence that material matter has ever at any time produced a living and conscious being. So you're a living and conscious being. Like, let's say we go to the Halloween store, we get 2 ears, a nose, some false teeth, some eyes, some eyelashes, some clothing, some legs, some arms. If we put it all together, will it become a person? No. Right? Let's say we get an amoeba and we keep it in our house, in a nutrient petri dish, and we wait for it to become a human being. Will it become a human being? No. It's all nonsense theories that matter has the power to see and move as part of some organic development. And no, it's not true. But that's what the scientists say. See, they say something that you don't live long enough to prove. So you never know for sure whether it's true or not. If by their theory, the amoeba becomes a human being, will you live long enough to see it turn into a human being? Go through all the steps of evolution? No. So their theories, they make theories up that are impossible to prove. And then they anything that seems to point to the validity of their theory, they jump on it. Right? We found a tooth in Siberia that was probably of a creature that was half animal, half man. They didn't find the creature. They just found the tooth. And how do they know it's of a creature that's half animal, half man? Well, it's bigger than a man's tooth, so therefore, but it's not too big. So therefore, they said this is proof that there was a species that was half man, half animal. That's a bunch of nonsense, right? And they'll write a long book about it, right? This is proof. So never has there ever been a visualization or seeing one species turn into another species. What they have seen is if you take a white rabbit from England and put it in the outback wilderness in Australia, after 3 or 4 or 5 generations, the color will go from white to a tan, dirty brown that mixes in with the environment of the outback, of the wilderness. And they'll say, well, you see what happened? You know, the species adapted. Well, but did the rabbit turn into a goat? No. It's just the rabbits that were pearly white, they got eaten up. And the rabbits that had a little bit darker color, they just survived. You know, until only the ones with darker colors survived and there are no more white rabbits. Does that mean that a species changed? No. It's just the color of there was selective, there was what you call survival of the fittest. So the rabbits that had a little bit darker manes or darker hair, they survived, and the rabbits that were pearly white, they all got eaten. But the rabbit didn't turn into a dog or a giraffe. So you see, there's never been proof that species change. That species can change a little bit in their color or something like that, but they don't change from one species to another. You've never seen that happen. Okay. So, the fact that we get dissatisfied, but the golf ball doesn't get dissatisfied, the baseball doesn't get dissatisfied, the basketball doesn't get dissatisfied, the basket ring doesn't get dissatisfied, whether the ball goes in it or doesn't go in it, right? But we get dissatisfied. That means there's a difference between conscious beings and the objects that they see or use every day. So the consciousness is different than dead matter. That's the point. That's point number 5. Okay, and what's point number 6? Agastya, what's point number 6? Okay, Krishna, go ahead. What's point number 6?
Something cannot move with an intelligent person without an intelligent person behind it.
Is it something cannot move with an intelligent person, or something cannot move without an intelligent person behind it? Which one is it?
Without.
Okay.
A toy train never moves.
How come you touched your nose after you said without? Did that mean something?
No.
Oh, okay. Good.
Something cannot move without an intelligent person behind it.
Okay.
A toy train never moves by its own will. If someone says, who was behind God, then say that that is the point. God is the origin of everything
What?
material and spiritual.
Microphone. Okay, Advitya, you're in charge of the microphone. You have a responsibility now. So as soon as he finishes, you take the microphone from him, and you wait for the next person who's going to speak, and you give them the microphone, okay? Your middle name now is Advitya Microphone. Okay, go ahead. Speak into the microphone.
They say,
Start all over again.
okay, something cannot move without an intelligent person behind it. A toy train never moves by its own will. If someone says, who was behind God, then say that that was the point. God is the origin of everything material and spiritual. He is the cause of all causes. The toy train was I don't
What?
know what that says.
What?
The toy train was built by a superior intelligence. That was like the 6th point.
Okay, Advitya's got control of the microphone now. All right, so, yes, there's always some intelligent person behind anything that moves. Like, for example, you have what's called these big CEOs like Jeff Bezos, or you have Bill Gates, or you had Steve Jobs, or you have Larry Ellison, or and so forth. They're all intelligent people who made the company move from a small company to a gigantic company. How did they do it? They used their intelligence. They made many decisions intelligently, and they built up their companies. So can something move without an intelligent person behind it? Well, someone would say, well, yeah, how about a volcano? There's no one behind a volcano. Well, how do you know there's no one? There's something that caused an explosion, and the whole thing exploded. So you would have to go into the volcano to see if there's some person there or not. It's like when Prabhupada was a young kid and the first gramophone came out. You know what a gramophone is?
Like those old phones with buttons on.
No. That's not a gramophone. The gramophone was a machine that produced music, right? Like a record, right? You put a record, and there's the needle, and it starts turning, and then there's this big sort of like what do you call that? What? A what? Trumpet? Well, it looks like a trumpet, yeah. And then the sound is coming out. So Prabhupada used to think there's a guy inside of that. Because, you know, it sounded like a person. You know, they're singing a song. Well, there is a guy, but he's not inside the machine, but he recorded his voice, and then it was carved into that plastic disc called a record. And now the needle somehow or other gets the vibration of the sound from the record, and then it's amplified and it comes out, and you can hear the guy's voice, even though the person that sang is not there anymore. He could be dead even, but still you have his voice. So is there a person in the gramophone? Like when you watch television, are the people that you see on television inside the television? No, but their images are. And the same with the record player. The person's not inside the record playing machine, but their voice has been recorded and you can hear it. See? So somebody made the record, someone made the record player, someone made your ears so you can hear it. You see? So there's intelligence behind anything that moves. And that means there's an intelligent person behind it. Everything we see, like someone made this carpet, someone made this microphone, someone made this harmonium, someone made this book, someone made this screen, someone made it, the drum. Right? It's not that the drum made itself, the screen made itself, the microphone made itself. So, point 6, nothing can move without an intelligent person behind it. Because intelligence gives direction like a higher authority. Okay? So now I can go and buy a toy train set, bring it home and assemble it, and then make the train go forward and backwards. But who's making the planet go on its axis, and at the same time go around the sun, and at the same time the whole galaxy moving around another axis? Those are all precise movements. And we visualize an atom as electrons going around a proton and the nucleus of the atom. Who's organizing that movement? And there's movements of the clouds, and there's movements of currents, and there's movements of the rivers, and all these things. Who's controlling all that? If we say there's an intelligence behind everything that moves, well, we can also say, well, then therefore there has to be intelligence behind, the wind blowing the tree back and forth and making the leaves shake. And there's still intelligence behind the clouds moving. And there's intelligence behind the earth moving. Just like there's intelligence behind my train set moving. Right? So intelligence is what you would call, intelligence gives direction, like a higher authority. A living being cannot eat, sleep, or do anything without the use of intelligence. So we depend on our own intelligence or that of a superior being. Just like a superior intelligence made the train set so that we could buy it and set it up in our house and enjoy making the train go forward and backwards. And I'm also an intelligent being, so I can assemble the train set and then make the train go forward and backwards. Right? So whenever there's movement, there's some intelligent person behind it, because matter on its own does not move. Right? So therefore, point number 6, which is extremely important, every person uses his intelligence to follow the direction of a higher intelligent authority. The higher authority is like a father giving direction to his child. And there are many layers of intelligent authorities. And the highest authority is the Supreme Personality, Godhead, Krishna, the supremely intelligent person in any organization. There are many layers of authorities, and there's a final authority or the ultimate director. Like, for example, in the city of Sammamish, you have different authorities, and the highest authority in Sammamish is the mayor. But as soon as you go out of Sammamish, there are other authorities higher than the mayor. Right? There's like the lieutenant governor of the state of Washington, who's going to come to our Ananda Mela festival. There's the governor of the state of Washington. He's made a video that we're going to play at the Ananda Mela. So those are higher authorities than the mayor of Sammamish. And then there's other higher authorities, like President of the United States. So an intelligent person will use their intelligence to follow the intelligence of a higher authority. It's just normal. Okay, so those are 6 points that prove gradually that there's a higher authority than human beings in the universe, and a higher intelligence than human beings. Now, what are the 12 distinguishing qualities of God that differentiates God from everybody else? This was another thing we went through, because once we establish that there's some supreme being in the universe, supremely intelligent being who's controlling all the movements and who's the origin of everything. So what differentiates Krishna from everyone else, or God from everyone else? Or Krishna as a God that's superior to all other gods. What are the 12 distinguishing? You have your notes, Augustine? You have your notes, Krishna? These are things we want to, yes.
So you ask someone that is God real, and then they say no, and then you're like, why do you think that? And then what if they say, if God was real, then bad things wouldn't happen to good people. So then what do you say to that kind of comment?
What I would ask him, how do you define a good person? I would say, are you a good person? Or are your mother and father, are they good persons? So they would say, yeah, of course. So then you say, do they eat meat? Yeah, they eat meat. What does that have to do with this? So then we begin to explain. Do they drink wine sometimes? Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with their goodness. Yes, it does. Because there are always different layers of authorities. The highest authority is Krishna. So, but by the way, it's proven that meat is bad for your health. Why do they eat meat then, if it's bad for your health? Alcohol is also bad for your health. Why do they eat it? Smoking cigarettes is also bad for your health. So, see, that just proves that they're not really good because they're being bad to themselves. Right? So what if they're a vegetarian and they don't smoke and they don't drink? Well, they might be doing other things. What are the 4 pillars of sin? Go ahead, Divya. What are the 4 pillars of sin? Yeah? Meat eating. Speaking in the microphone so we can hear.
No eating, no intoxication, no
Yeah.
illicit connections, and no gambling.
Gambling and speculation, right? So, if they say, oh yeah, my parents are good, so ask them if they do any of those 4 things. So, then you could, if they say, no, they don't do any of those 4 things. Okay. What do they think that the final goal of life is? Let's say the final goal of life is go back to heaven with Jesus Christ. What do they do in heaven with Jesus Christ? They enjoy. I don't know. There's no information what they do in heaven with Jesus Christ. So, but most people will, be breaking one or more of the regulative principles, and therefore that's the reason why bad things happen to good people. But because they're not completely good. They're doing some bad things and they're getting the karma for it. So therefore, you should learn how to be completely good. Therefore, bad things will not happen to you. And even if bad things happen to you, it doesn't stop you from being good. Right? Completely good. Okay. So what are the distinguishing qualities of God that no one else has? Yes, Shasta, go ahead. Microphone.
What is the origin of everything material and spiritual?
That's point 1, yes. Anybody have another point? Gusty, are you looking in your notes? Anybody? Go ahead.
The second point is all living entities are eternal, but Krishna is the supreme eternal being.
And how is he differentiated from all the others?
He maintains all the other living entities.
Yeah. We're all getting food from Krishna, changing the seasons, everything. He's maintaining us. Right. Okay. Any other point?
Yeah. Because
Yeah, you have a point? No. Anybody have a point? Go ahead. Oh yeah? Somebody has a point? You do, Agastya? Okay, take the microphone. Advitya, come on, you're in charge.
He knows what's happening. He knows what's happening in all bodies because he's Paramatma.
Yes. We don't know what's happening you don't know what's happening in Advitya's body right now, do you? He doesn't know what's happening in your body right now. Krishna knows, yes. Any other points? Yes. Give her a mic.
He's present everywhere.
Yes, at the same time that he's present in Goloka Vrindavan, he's also present everywhere. Yeah. Go ahead, Shasta.
he's not influenced by the modes of material nature, he's independent,
Right.
whereas humans are influenced by the mode of material nature.
Yes.
And then he's not affected by the work he does, and he has no attachment to the fruits of actions.
Yes. And it's not entangled by the reactions of work. Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll have Guru Puja now. And then we'll finish. So whoever doesn't have the notes, whoever doesn't have these, you have the notes of, no. No. Okay, then we'll print them out and give them to you. This last one is Brahma Samhita, verse 1. Huh? Okay, let's do. Who's going to chant Guru Puja? You want to chant Guru Puja? Yeah, go ahead. What? Yeah, you're going to sing and play. Someone needs to play kartos. Go ahead. Stand up. Everyone stand up. So the homework for tomorrow is you memorize. Homework tomorrow is you have to memorize.
Bando mui savadana mate Jahara prasade bhai e bhava toriya jai Krishna prapti hoya hoite Krishna prapti hoya hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Jete Te Doriya Cha Na Koriyo Mane Asha Arana Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Je prasade pure sarva asha. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. Chakshudan dilo de janme janme Prabhu say. Chakshudan dilo de janme janme Prabhu say. Divya gyan hriday prakashito. Preme bhakti jahate avidya vinasha jate. Veda gyan jahara charito. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Aha Prabhu Koro Daya Deho More Pada Chaya. Eveda Jashuk Tribhuvana. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's it, guys. Hari Hari Bol.
The, lo- the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friends of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Lokarnatha Goswami, O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
We take shelter of your feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. We're going to give you the outline of what we just discussed today. And tomorrow, I'm going to ask you questions to see if you understand it. So your homework is to study the 2 or 3 sheets that I'm going to give you now so that you can answer questions tomorrow on the 6 points, how you can prove that God exists to an atheist, and then the 12 distinguishing points that by which Krishna is different from everyone else. So he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you have 2 things to learn tomorrow. You're going to get the sheets, and this is something we went over a lot before, but it looks like everybody forgot. And then we'll play a game tomorrow. Someone's an atheist and someone is a devotee. And the devotee has to convince the atheist. All right? So there's, are they printing out, Prabhu? Okay. All right, so the 6 points. One first point is, are you a person? So they'll have to say yes. Then if you're a person, good. So as a person, you are the seer, and everything you see is the seen. There's a difference between the seer and the seen. And this difference between yourself as a seer and the body that you have. You don't say, I hand, I head, I nose. You say, my hand, my head, my nose. That means there's a difference between you and your nose, because you're able to perceive it. And the nose itself does not have that perception. So that's point 2. And then point 3 is that the objects that you see, the process of seeing, and the instruments are seeing have all been provided to you. You didn't make any of them. And number 4 is that your seeing is limited. And because it's limited, you don't have full awareness of things. And number 5 is that we feel dissatisfaction or frustration. In other words, we can experience happiness and distress, but especially distress or dissatisfaction, whereas the carpet doesn't feel dissatisfaction. That means we have something that the carpet, the microphone, the car don't have, and that is we have consciousness. But you know, our consciousness is limited, and we have borrowed senses for perception, but we're still a unique person. And then number 6 says nothing moves without an intelligent person behind it. And then we can compare ourselves or human beings as intelligent persons making matter move in different ways. And then we can understand that it has to be a supremely intelligent person making the planets move, making our digestion move, making the clouds move, and so forth. So in 6 points, we established there's a supremely intelligent person in the universe, and that's God. And point 7 is you have to read Bhagavad Gita to learn about the distinguishing qualities of God. And there are 12 specific distinguishing qualities that differentiates Krishna from all other persons, including the demigods. So you have to learn this for tomorrow. You have to be able to explain it. Okay, Krishna? Got it? Got it? Advitya, you're in charge of the microphone. Yeah. Okay, so we'll stop right now. You have your homework for tomorrow. And we'll play the game tomorrow. How to convince. So some of you have to get trained up as an atheist. And some of you have to be trained up as a devotee who can defeat the atheist. So you can choose. Advit, you want to be the atheist or you want to be the devotee? What? You don't know. Well, you got 24 hours to decide. Okay. Ria, you want to be the atheist or you want to be the devotee? Huh? Which one you want to be? What? What did you say? Okay, you got 24 hours to decide. Okay, which one you want to be? You want to be the devotee? Then you have to study. Huh? Who wants to be the atheist? You want to be, okay, atheist. Okay, good. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Haribol. So go to Ananda Prabhu to get the sheets that you have to study, Krishna. Huh? Well, even the atheist has to study it. No, you study these sheets. Here we go. This is your homework for tomorrow. Ria, that's your homework for tomorrow. Thank you. You going to be an atheist or a devotee? You're going to be, you better study really hard.